Oracle Cloud Procurement. Hi, my name's Scott Walls, and in this video, I'm going to introduce you to the Catalogs application in Oracle Cloud. So let's get started. Okay, slide 1. What is the Catalogs application in Oracle Cloud ERP? The Catalogs application automates the creation and management of the content structures used to expose purchasable content or goods and services to requesters using a method known as self-service procurement, or SSP, meaning that you source it once and you put it in a content structure so that all the requesters can repeatedly request what you've already sourced. Okay, slide 2. What types and subtypes of catalog content structures can be created within Oracle Cloud ERP? Well, there's 6 of them. Let's take a look. First, catalogs. So prior to the 25A Oracle Cloud release as it's currently constituted, you have informational catalogs. Not so sure if they exist afterwards. But you will have local catalogs or remote or punch-out catalogs. Then you have what's called smart forms. So these are forms that can leverage the PCCH, we'll talk about that in a second, to limit the amount of browsing categories, and they allow for other flexibilities to include the creation of fields and association with those fields through what's called an information template. So I can create groups of DFFs. These are custom fields. So if I want to do a business card as a request, but I need you also, in addition to the requisition fields, I need to know your title, your email, whatever. I can create DFFs, and then I can put them on an info template and call them by the category, or I can attach them in a smart form and call them there. Then we have what's called purchasing news. So I can create a global blast of news out to every requester. Then we have content zones. So we have these different constructs of informational, local catalogs, punch out, all these things. How do we decide who gets to see what? That's called a content zone. And it allows me to control the content structures, who I expose them to by business unit, by group of people, by person. And then lastly, we talked about the procurement catalog category hierarchy. This is taking an end state or level 1 category, the one you see on the requisition, and then adding browsing categories on top of that for multiple purposes, which could include, but are not limited to, reporting or driving accounting. Okay, slide 3. Who creates catalog content structures in Oracle Cloud ERP? And of course, I'm using the pre-25A RSSP, or responsive self-service procurement. I'm using here the old self-service procurement page because while it may not be responsive, it's very nicely laid out to illustrate my point. Okay, so first, buyers will create catalog content structures, and here on the image on the right, you see the text on the far right and all of those highlights for where these different components can be found on the self-service procurement page. Those are all the catalog category structures. Catalog content structures. So the buyer can create those content structures, right? That makes a lot of sense. If I'm a buyer, I'm going to determine how to expose the content I negotiated. The category managers are overall responsible for which content gets negotiated and how it gets presented to the requesters. And then the suppliers. So we talked about this before too. If a catalog, or rather a purchase agreement, is negotiated into a local catalog, purchase agreements can be set up such that a supplier can come through the supplier portal to change pricing. So in that case, the supplier actually has the ability to create or at least amend the catalog content structures as well. Okay, slide 4. How are catalog content structures created in Oracle Cloud ERP? And there's 3 methods. First is manual using the online pages. Second is via punch out. So in this case, we're actually punching into this other content structure. And then finally, like I said, suppliers via the portal. Okay, slide 5. When are catalog content structures created within Oracle Cloud ERP's procurement process? Well, let's take a look at that process. So first, you have requesters ordering pre-negotiated content, or at least searching for it, putting it on a rec, creating a PO from it, and getting those goods shipped to desk or dock. But if you can't find, or they cannot find pre-negotiated content, they're going to use a non-catalog request form to invoke sourcing to find the source for what is now not negotiated or non-negotiated content. And so that non-catalog request could invoke suppliers. If it's in the government, it could require qualifications, some pre-purchase contracts, then a sourcing event, then maybe even a purchase contract on the outside of that sourcing event, then a purchase agreement and or a purchase order. So as we've talked about, the purchase agreement could become a local catalog, could become a number of things. So we would say that the last step in the sourcing services process is when catalog content structures are really created, but they're heavily used in a couple different places, right? Because they could be smart forms, they could be a content zone, so that could control what the requesters see in their catalogs, etc. Okay, so that's an introduction to the catalogs application in Oracle Cloud. Have questions? Great. Reach out to me at the link below. Want to learn how to create a catalog transaction in Oracle Cloud? Check out my free online video on Panameer.com. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.